block party is all about rebuilding the Republican Party from the ground up. To me, the main focus of the Tea Party is to take our country back from too much government, over legislation, too much government control in our lives, and to elect representatives who truly represent us.
Tavern-style politics in the tradition of the Founding Fathers, so you'll learn about, we have speakers, and we try to inform people about individual rights, free markets, and limited government, and that's what brings us all together.
I am trying to restore our freedoms and our liberties and restore constitutionally limited government. The focus is on the Constitution and our liberties, and you know, they put just about everything else that they might believe off to the side as a secondary consideration. That's why I see in the Tea Party 9/12 groups.
The fear that the Constitution is not being read and honored these days. And number two, I don't think the politicians that are currently in Washington are responsive to what we want. I think it's back to basics. It's back to American basics, the U.S. Constitution. I think we were all busy working and raising our families and doing the right thing. And we elected these politicians thinking that they were doing the right thing. We trusted them. I trusted them. And they let us down. They just let us down. When I woke up, they're passing all this legislation. I mean, the health care bill, 2,000 plus pages. I mean, I'm just afraid. So I think the Tea Party is a bunch of Americans that are waking up and want to take our country back.
I think that the Founding Fathers had the right idea, and we need to go back to their thoughts.
We just don't like what's taking place in our government. We don't like Obama's policies. We don't like his arrogance. Less government, less spending, strong input from the society or the people.
This is my spending cap right here. I think that's the first step. Less taxes, less spending, a little bit more common sense. We have to be able to have discussions about the most important things in our nation without being vilified on one side.
Reduction in government, restriction of government, limited taxes, limited government.
I'm just out here talking to people about liberty and the Gadsden Society of Colorado, and ways that they can get involved to help talk to their local legislators about defending their freedoms and their liberties. That's the key idea of Gadsden. We're trying to compete with all the paid lobbyists that are down here every day, in and out, that are influencing our legislators. So we want to have a voice here for the people who believe in it.
Okay.
I think that the main motivation of the Tea Party is that people are fed up. They see what's going on and they don't like it. But I think that the good part about it is that it's bringing out people who really have a strong political philosophy, that are coming out and really talking about the fundamentals of liberty and freedom and how our government was founded and ways that we need to get back.
I want to support our right to freedom in America, which I believe is being taken away from us at this time by this administration.
We're up here to uphold the Constitution of the United States. The government doesn't have a right to violate that, and they're doing it.
I support the Constitution, but I'm also here because I think this movement should help reverse the things that's going on in Congress and get back to our basic precepts of what this country was founded for.
I'm here to support my country and to, make it very clear that the current government, the way they're running things, is not acceptable. It's coming back to the core values of America. Really, why this country was founded was on principles of liberty and independence and of limited government.
Well, I came to distribute flyers to advocate liberty. I think what's really missing from the discussion in current issues is the concept of liberty. Liberty is the principle that everybody should live free of coercion. One person's right to liberty is not the right to coerce another.
You feeling good?
So if the principle of liberty is properly understood, it works for everyone.
Trying to rein in the out-of-control spending on the government is probably one of them. Trying to get them out of our day-to-day lives. We don't need the federal government in there to tell us how to run our lives.
What do you see as the central ideas of the Tea Party movement?
I think it's people wanting to have more freedom, less government, less taxes, less regulation.
Freedom, liberty, and support of the Constitution. I wanted to stand up for my rights as an American, as a black female American. I feel that our sovereignty is being taken away from us. I feel that my grandson here, he's not even 2, he's already in debt. And we're in trouble. I would like our country to go back to being conservative. I like us to put God first, because after all, God did help us make America.
Try to stand up for our freedoms and express our wishes that the government goes back to a constitutional government. Well, there are a lot of ideas behind the Tea Party. I mean, the government officials, people in power for decades have been overstepping their bounds. The Constitution is mistaken by so many people. It's thought that the Constitution is what gives us our rights and, you know, basically tells us what we can and cannot do, and that's not true. The Constitution is a document that gives to the government certain limited rights, and they have overstepped their bounds in, you know, exercising those rights and extending the rights, taking rights away from people.
Our liberties are being stolen by Congress and the President. The key ideas are free market, liberty, and less spending.
And that to secure the...
We're just average Americans here standing up for our country, because if we don't, who is going to?
I'm a retired firefighter from the city of Longmont, Colorado. I cooked my kids breakfast this morning, and before I left I told them that I was coming down here to try and stop the government spending, the deficit spending, because it was endangering their future. So I'm here for my children, to save them from big government. The economy is in a bad situation and will get much, much worse if government is seen as the solution to the economic problem. Private enterprise is the only way we're going to re-employ these people.
Conservative values, believing we should have a smaller government, and more of a belief in getting back to the Constitution.
Not happy about our taxes and what's going to be indebted to my children in the coming years. I think we're all angry about what the government is doing in a way without our permission. They're not really interested in what we have to say. We can think for ourselves, but the government seems to think they know better for us what's best for us. So I think we're feeling unheard and pushed aside.
I feel disrespected because they're not willing to listen to us.
I own my own business, and I made probably 25% less and I was taxed more. My grandchildren are going to be holding up this debt for a long time, and I'm pretty sad about that. Plus, I'm tired of being called racist. You know, that's ridiculous. I'm afraid of what's happening now. I'm very afraid, because there's such arrogance in government now, and it's not about the people. It's about whatever they want. I work hard for my money, and I want to be able to put some in my pocket.
Getting really tired and fed up of not having a voice and any representation. It seems to me that the government's got their hand on my wallet, and they are willing and able to pluck it at any time, and I'm sick of it.
I think everybody's here because we're losing our freedoms, our liberty, and we're getting to the point where we have to make a stand and say, what is America for?
I just want to stand up and just be seen and counted and heard that I'm just tired of every liberty that we have going down the tubes. Without economic freedom, there's no political freedom. I don't want the government being my parent.
So what brought you guys to this event today?
Basically out of control spending, fiscal irresponsibility being exercised by the administration and Congress, and it wouldn't work in the private sector, it shouldn't work in the public sector.
It's been on these steps that after decades, we have now found our voices again.